Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. Good afternoon, beer geeks. I hope you're somewhere drier than we're going to be by the time this podcast goes out, because we're recording this on Thursday again, confusing the timeline, because we will be at Bigfoot Festival up in near Birmingham, Ragley Hall, isn't it, Brad?
Stratford-upon-Avon, pretty much.
Oh, is that where we're going? That sounds dead fancy.
Mate. Yeah. Is that Shakespeare country or is that pottery country? I always forget. It's Shakespeare country, right?
Yeah, Shakespeare country, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
we'll be singing sonnets and all kinds of stuff on stage every morning.
I hope so. Maybe we should do a sonnet. Just to let everyone in on what we're actually doing. We're rocking the main stage, Johnny, aren't we? Which
we are rocking the main stage.
Wanted to say, as a younger man, I used to get approached a lot to be in bands, but I'm totally musically useless, so I always had to turn them down.
Why were you approached? Like, because you just looked like you should be musical.
Yeah. No one wants to say they look cool, but I think I used to look quite cool when I was in art school. I've still got, like kind of trussel locks of hair. I used to wear winkle picker shoes. I was cut a bit of a dash, skinnier man. Maybe better looking in my youth.
No, Bradley, I think you're aging like a fine barley wine.
Oh, thanks, mate. You too, buddy. I used to get stopped all the time. Just people going like, do you want to be in my band? People used to run after me. Do you want to be in a band?
What?
I'd be like, mate, I'd love to be in a band, but I can't fucking play anything. And I've got a terrible singing voice. / I'm too shy to try and sing. But you've never had that problem, Johnny. You've been in multiple bands. You nearly got signed by Parlophone. Am I lying about that?
We talked to Parlophone, yeah.
You talked to Parlophone.
Never happened.
Mate, you're like a well-versed wedding band.
I'm the flip side of you. I don't look cool, but
you are cool.
I
are cool.
Yeah. I wouldn't go that far. Our band was mostly inspired by deeply uncool bands like Sigur Rós. So I had a mini musical career. I put everything on hold to try and make it work and ended up bankrupt and living in a squat. So moved back in with my parents and rethought my life. I'm glad that I'm finally going to rock the main stage of a big festival.
Yeah.
I just had to go in through the back door to do it.
Mate, we are going to rock the main stage, absolutely. This is the hottest ticket this year. Literally,
it's the only ticket.
Because everything else is cancelled. Like I was looking at it it's on BBC main news on the main website. Lovely Greg Wells' face all over it, talking about how his festival is allowed to go on when every other festival is cancelled. Like literally every other festival has been cancelled.
They've put a lot of steps in. Like it's going to be so weird, but also kind of nice in that for a start, it's table service still. So if you want a beer, you have to be sat down, which I am all for. I've bought a stool, and I'm just going to pitch it up wherever I want and see if I can get table service wherever I am in the field.
You bought a stool? That's good. Yeah. I like that.
Well, because it's going to be wet, you can't sit on the ground. So stools suddenly become very important. So it was a panic stool I bought.
Is it like one of those walking stick ones that sort of outdoorsy people have that's like a walking stick, but then it's got little tiny leather seat on the top of it?
No, although there was one on offer in the shop I bought it from. But I thought, I'm already starting to feel my age at 34. I don't want to start using, something that's designed for people over 70.
Do you know what I've got for the festival, Johnny?
I dread to think.
I went to Decathlon. I wanna work with Decathlon. I wanna make outdoorsy videos with Decathlon. Just throwing it out there right now, Decathlon, if you're listening. That's my new favourite shop. I love going to Decathlon. It's huge, and it has all kinds of stuff. But I bought I think they call it a living room base camp or something tent, and it's basically like, I guess, a little bit like a marquee type thing, but it's full standing height, and I've got a table and 4 chairs, so we can all get in there if it gets real pissy weather. And I'm thinking about bringing my ping pong net, so we can play a bit of ping pong.
A bit of beer pong at the Craft Beer Channel tent.
Beer pong. I didn't even think about beer pong. We're not allowed to take beers in, so that'd be a very expensive beer pong.
But us, when they're closing down the main area, will be shelling out on that. We will be like, beer pong, back at ours. And doing it with absurdly expensive imperial stout, I'd imagine. That's probably the way it could go. But anyway, we've been trying to get around to what we're actually doing at Bigfoot, which is run by the guys who run London Craft Beer Festival. Sorry, guys and girls who run London Craft Beer Festival, Edinburgh Craft Beer Festival, Bristol Craft Beer Festival, and Beer Central Festival. So this is their music and beer festival. We've got Primal Scream headlining, Dinosaur Pile Up, A Certain Ratio, and those are the three bands I know.
Pigs.
Fat
White Family, Errol Alcan, Hot Chip, all sorts of people to dance and rave to and rock out to. It's going to be very eclectic, mate.
It is going to be eclectic. And talking of eclectic, our little set, so for 2 hours every morning, we're running what's called Hair of the Dog, which was inspired by me saying to Greg, we want to do something with you. And I always wake up really early and tense. I'm a terrible sleeper in warm temperatures. So I was like, can we do something in the morning for people like me? And it has morphed into what's being billed as Hipster Sunday Brunch.
Hipster Sunday Brunch. That is a big claim, isn't it? I hope we live up to it, mate.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I can live up to Tim Lovejoy, just maybe not the budget and the guests.
Finally, we'll get to be on our own version of Sunday Brunch here.
Yeah, we've never been invited on, despite many other beer experts and cider experts having their moment in the sun. But that's cool. We're not bitter. No. So yeah, we've got Square Root. We're doing beer yoga. Well, yoga, but we'll be drinking during it. What else have we got? We've got beer and pizza matching, sabraging with your mate Benedict Butterworth.
That's it. All sorts, mate. We're yogaing. We're just gonna have fun, right? I think there's circus skills in the mix, and shandies. We're gonna be making like ultimate shandies, like unusual shandies. Mate, I'm well looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be huge fun, and we just have to hope the hangovers from the Imperial Stout beer pong aren't too bad. So, yes, if you haven't got tickets for that, there might still be tickets, but if not, come next year, and hopefully we won't have offended so many of the staff there that we get to do it again. Should we go to the video for this week?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
So, this week was a video I actually filmed quite a long time ago. It's been sat waiting to be edited for a while, and it was with Unity, who are one of my favourite UK breweries, initially because of the amazing Belgian stuff they made, and that's kind of the subject of the video. We talk about how he started off as a Belgian-inspired brewery and had to kind of pivot because it wasn't really working. He wasn't really getting the growth he wanted to become like a decent-sized community brewery, offering lots of employment and getting people excited about beer. So he completely shifted it and moved all his Belgian stuff out into a side project called Made Provisions, which is actually why I was there. That was for the book. But also, really going deep into New England brewing with Unity itself.
Amazing. Jimmy's a great guy, isn't he? We've had him in a lot of videos. He's like super knowledgeable. Started as a home brewer. Well, did he start as a home brewer, or he was like while he was brewing, he was also home brewing?
Yeah, well, so he's not an old guy. He's around our age, but he's had a long career in booze. I think he started off as maybe even at like a Threshers or something, selling great wine.
Yeah.
And then he worked at I think London Fields Brewery. We all know the stories about London Fields Brewery, but at the time they were making really good beer. And I think he spent some time at Camden as well. And as we say in the video, he decided he wanted to set up his own place and have a bit more creative freedom. And I think he's done a brilliant job down at Unity. It's a beautiful brand, a beautiful space. It's grown really well, and both Made Provisions and Unity make absolutely incredible and super varied beer. So if you ever, a lot of the time you go into a brewery, and breweries increasingly are known for one thing, like do one thing well. And that's great, but it's really nice to go and have brewery fresh beer and have lots of different styles. So I had a Kolsch, a West Coast IPA, New England IPA, fruited sours, barrel-aged Sauvignon Blanc conditioned saisons, wit beers, porters. It was just an unbelievable range from a small brewery, and it was like the good old days of craft beer where you never really brewed one beer twice.
Yeah, Jimmy's just flexing all of his muscles in his two sort of brands he's got going on. I mean, man, I wish I could have come down to that day, because the Spruce Tip thing looks incredible. All those beers you were smashing just looks such a great day, man.
It was lovely. I did bring back some beer for you, so don't worry. You can try some of those beers. I'd never go somewhere without you and not bring back the tastiest things. So, not at the festival. Afterwards, we'll indulge in some delicious Made Provisions saison.
Amazing.
The comments.
Sorry, Jordan. I just got totally bamboozled there because my cat ran into the room with a live mouse. And dropped it on the floor, and it started running about. But she's taking it back outside again now, so we're all good.
Going to die in al fresco is Jeff.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. No, it was Stevie. Jeff's too stupid to catch a mouse. She just brings me slugs in occasionally. But yes, should we get to the comments? Sorry to derail. I just got totally freaked out for a second there.
It was a really unusual derailment. I enjoyed that one. So let's start with... somebody's come up with a really great video idea, and we always appreciate it when people do this. So please do, if you have a video idea, stick it in the comments or join our Patreon and stick it in our Patreon, and then we'll definitely see that. But Uncle Ennis said, video idea, go through as many different hops as possible, what they smell, taste like, etc. Often when I'm tasting a beer with hops I've never tried before, it helps to know what it should smell or taste like. Great video as always. So it's an idea we've been flirting with for a long time, but I think that kind of idea of saying, you've never had this hop before, what can you expect, is a really good angle we should use for it.
Big time. Like we've just been talking a little bit before we came on air about how we might potentially, how that could look. Maybe it's a series, maybe you've got, different regional hops that we kind of look into. This is a subject that we kind of touched upon with Trogs in our Trogs video, because they have a sort of sensory thing that they do when they're kind of picking their sort of trio of hops that go into each beer, which I thought was like an amazing way of doing it. I think that could be a great approach. And like you say, John, we always look at the comments, we always read the comments, and we get inspired by them. So that's a bloody great idea, Uncle.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll do something. We'll try and compare them with real flavors, so get those real flavors in there as well. Often I get asked, how do you develop a palate? And the best way of doing it is to, write down a list of the flavors that people say they get from beer and go and buy those ingredients and try them out. That's the best way to sort of make comparisons and learn how to talk about beer. And that's kind of what I'd love to get people to get from a video like this if we did it. Sorry, not if, when we do it. It's definitely something we'd love to do. So thank you, Uncle, or Ennis, not quite sure which is which. There was also another comment from Misspelled Stallion. He said, lots of... we were talking about cashmere in the video, as one of Jimmy's favourite hops. And he said, lots of cashmere is grown in my home state of Michigan, USA. A beautiful hop, love it in local brews, and have used it in Pale and Pilsner, and love both. I also recommend some other local varieties, like, get ready for this, Copper.
Yes.
Never heard of that. Mackinac. Never heard of that.
Mackinac?
Zuppasatze. Never heard of that. and bergamot.
Awesome.
Not bergamot,
Oh.
but bergamot. Now, to me, listening to those words, it sounds like the Chinese knockoffs of hop brands. You've got Sarze, bergamot. So I did a little bit of research before we recorded this podcast to see if we were being trolled or if I'm an idiot and these are famous hops. It seems to be that these are all hops grown or bred by Great Lake Hops, who I think are a small hop farm doing lots of breeding of different hops and coming up with new varieties. So they haven't really spread out yet.
Interesting.
So perhaps Kashmir was one of the most successful experiments, or perhaps it's grown elsewhere, and these guys also grow it in Michigan as well. But yeah, it seems like there's this new little hop region in Michigan that I had no idea about that's making some really exciting new American-style varieties.
Super Sarza sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
It does a bit.
Wow. Yeah, man, that sounds great. Nice one, misspelled stallion.
That is great knowledge, or gen, as the kids are calling it. So we're going to do a bit more research about that, see if we can get hold of them, see if we can brew with them. I think that would be a really fun video. And I've wanted to go to the Great Lakes to see Great Lakes Brewing and go to Chicago as well. And that's just another reason why we need to do that part of the US as soon as it's safe.
It's going to happen, man. As long as when the borders open up, we're allowed to travel again. When we start sharing our stockpiles of vaccines, or make it free to the world and stop being bastards and letting these big companies make trillions on profiteering from a bloody global pandemic, then we can get back out there doing beer stuff, mate.
There you go. If that's not a reason to give vaccines to the countries that don't have them yet, then I don't know what is.
Exactly.
So the Great Lakes, we will be in you at some point eventually. Although, of course, you say that it's pandemic dependent. It's also Norwegian Air sales dependent, which is how we choose most of our destinations. It's like, where do we want to go? This place, this place, this place. Oh, that's got a deal on. Although thanks to our wonderful Patreons, which you can join, we do have a bit of budget put aside for some decent trips once we are allowed. So huge thanks to all of you for supporting what we do, and we will eventually be able to spend all that money and make some really incredible content once we're able to start moving about again.
Amen.
I'd love to hear your views. Please do tweet us or Facebook us or in the Patreon, sort of say, we struggle a little bit with these videos that are profiles of breweries because they don't reach a wider audience. So I just kind of want to check that you guys are really into them as well. Because obviously every video we make, we first think about the people that watch us regularly and what's going to be of interest to them. I just want to check that everybody still does really enjoy those. So let us know thoughts on a postcard, or maybe there's something else we can do with our profiles and build them out, or find a theme or something that just gives it a new spin.
Big time. Yeah, we're always looking to innovate, and obviously with our sort of home brewing exploits that are to come this year, that's kind of a new trajectory that we're taking the channel in a direction. No, we're not. That's one aspect, and then obviously we're doing what we always love to do, but we're always looking for what could be the next cool thing that we could bring to the party. So on some postcard.
Talking of what's coming up on the channel, we did tease it at the very end of the video, but our next live show is going to be with Unity. So everyone else will be able to try his amazing beers. And that will include beers from Unity and from Made Provisions. And that is currently slated 31st of July is the penciled in date for that. So pencil that in yourselves. There'll be a box going live in a couple of weeks and we'll confirm that date, but that's definitely happening. And then after that, we've got Don Zoko slated in as well. So that's dead exciting. He's he's having to do some shifting around to make sure he's got 6 beers he can actually put in a box, because he's a very small brewery. But excitingly, he reckons he can do it. He's also mid-move. He's moving up to Edinburgh. To be near to the New Barnes guys, yeah.
Jeez, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he's getting a much, much bigger brewery up there, and that's super cool to hear as well.
I feel like he didn't move that long ago.
No, I think he's been in the same place the whole time, up in Hartlepool. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
I think he's been talking about moving for a long time.
Right,
that might
that's
be
probably what it is.
Might be what it is. Much like me, been talking about moving for a long, long time. As we go to press with this podcast, I should have exchanged.
Oh, mate.
And once I exchange, we can talk to the businesses about the outdoor space and about building that studio. And once that happens, I can confirm the mother of all collaborations. I'm chatting to this person next week. It is dead exciting, but, you know, it is the absolute creme de la creme of IPA brewer, and I cannot believe that they are up for collaborating with little old us. So that's dead exciting, and that's a little tease for what else might be coming towards the end of July.
Amazing, man. I mean, obviously I'm in the know with what we're talking about here, and it is pretty spectacularly mind-blowing. I'm definitely not blowing smoke up anyone's ass when I say one of the best breweries in the world.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
And maybe there's a little hint there, given some content we did at the start of the year. Yeah. So, have
you got your wellies packed, Johnny?
I haven't packed.
I haven't packed either.
But I do know where my wellies are.
Craft beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't own any wellies, so I bought some in a sale a couple of weeks ago. I bought some from Jules, which is like a fancy English sort of ladies' clothing. I think they do men's clothes as well. Outfitters. I bought some ladies cut-off wellies in size 9.
You didn't say they were ladies last time.
Yeah, they're ladies.
That.
Yeah. But
right.
I mean, they're the same. They're just size 9, so it's all good. But I'm going to look dead jaunty in my cut-off wellies, and let's hope that it doesn't get too boggy.
If they're cut-offs, you're going to hope the waterline doesn't hit more than like 7 inches.
Yeah, I'm screwed if it does, man.
Well, I've bought me... I'm not the most out there dresser, but Heather's encouraged me to buy some resort shirts.
Resort shirts? What's that, like a Hawaiian shirt?
It's a certain kind of collar. It's like a loose-fitting, thin shirt, usually with fancy patterns on, with like a flat collar, almost like a lapel.
I'm going to need to see this. It's from what you're describing to me, this is like almost like a Hawaiian shirt. You're talking like a 50s like Americana resort shirt.
Yeah,
right?
It's very much something that like Don Draper would have worn while he was, sipping Budweiser from a can in his garden. What colours are we talking?
Are they patterned or are they just like plain?
The one I've got, it's navy blue with some fun white flecks on it.
Nice.
Well, after all this fashion teasing, we'll have to do a photo for everyone when we get to the festival of how festivally we are.
Yeah.
But my wellies are for men and do go up to the knee.
Nice.
So I'm not that jaunty yet.
Well, we'll see who's laughing when the rains come.
I mean, I'll be laughing at you whether the waves come or not, I'm sure. But we'll see if you're laughing at me in return. So I think that's enough welly chat for a beer podcast. Oh dear, what is our life, Brad? We will see you on Wednesday. We've got a really exciting video, actually very hop based, in which we're hop sniffing with Paul from Cloudwater and one of his lovely brewers, and talking about the US hop harvest when it comes over here and what they look for, and how to get how to do sensory analysis of hops. It's a really nerdy and really fun video, so I'm looking forward to putting that one out into the world. And then next week, hopefully, if all goes well, we will also have the next bubble episode, which I teased last week with Pillow Heat, so look out for that as well. Have an amazing weekend. Think of us if it pisses down with rain. And we'll see you next week to tell you what happened with the Imperial Stout beer pong.
Yeah, come say hi if you see us at the festival, guys. Love and beer.
The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/thecraftbeer-channel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.